Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao are doing it again. Yes, you heard that right. More than a decade after their first mega fight, the two biggest names of boxing's last golden era are officially set to share the ring one more time. And this time, the stage might be even crazier than the matchup itself. The rematch is scheduled for September 19, 2026 in Las Vegas, and not just anywhere in Vegas. This one is lined up for the Sphere, the high-tech 18,600-seat arena that's basically a giant cinematic screen wrapped around a venue. It's already been called the crown jewel of the Strip, and now it's about to host its first major professional boxing event with Mayweather vs. Pacquiao 2 as the headline. The news first came out through ESPN's Mike Coppinger and was later confirmed by DAZN Boxing, so this is no longer rumor territory. The deal has moved into reality. Floyd Mayweather vs. Manny Pacquiao Part 2 in the desert in a venue designed to look like the future. For anyone who followed boxing even casually in the 2010s, this matchup hits instantly. Their first fight in May 2015 was marketed as the fight of the century, and on the business side, it absolutely lived up to the name. That night still stands as the most lucrative event in combat sports history. Over $400 million in revenue, 4.6 million pay-per-view buys, and an entire world locked in on two fighters who had been circling each other for years. Inside the ring, the fight was decisive. Floyd Mayweather did what Floyd Mayweather does. He neutralized, he controlled, he outboxed. The judges saw it clearly and awarded him a unanimous decision. For hardcore fans, it wasn't some wild slugfest, but it was a masterclass in defense and ring IQ. For casuals who had been sold on this being a once-in-a-lifetime war, some walked away underwhelmed. Now, fast forward 11 years. Instead of talking about pound-for-pound rankings or championship belts, the numbers people are looking at first are the birth certificates. Floyd Mayweather will be 49 years old by the time this rematch happens. Manny Pacquiao will be 47. These aren't prime years for anyone in a sport as brutal as boxing. Mayweather hasn't fought professionally since 2017 when he stopped Conor McGregor, but he has stayed somewhat active with a long list of exhibitions around the world. Pacquiao's last official pro fight came in 2021 when he lost to Yordenis Ugas in a performance that showed flashes of the old Manny, but also the reality of age catching up. So what are we actually looking at in 2026? This isn't about world titles. There are no championships on the line. Nobody's calling this a battle for the top pound-for-pound spot. Instead, this rematch is being framed as a celebration of what people are calling boxing's Big Bang era. That period when Mayweather, Pacquiao, Canelo Alvarez, the Klitschkos, and others turned big fights into global events that crossed over into mainstream culture. The most interesting part is how this event is being built, and that's where the Sphere comes in. If you haven't seen it yet, the Sphere is not a regular arena. It's an immersive wraparound screen on the outside and inside with insane sound technology and visual production that makes every concert or show feel like a cinematic experience. Think of it less like a typical fight venue and more like a hybrid between a sports arena and a movie theater built for blockbusters. Promoters clearly understand that in 2026, the spectacle around Mayweather vs. Pacquiao 2 will be just as important, if not more, than what actually happens in the ring. They're leaning heavily into the idea that fans aren't just buying a ticket to watch two aging legends box. They're paying for an experience. The Sphere's giant screens can show custom visuals, career highlights, interactive graphics, and all kinds of pre-filed in-fight content. Imagine walking into the arena and seeing Mayweather's and Pacquiao's entire careers playing out in massive Ultra HD clips wrapping around the crowd before the opening bell even rings. In other words, this isn't just a fight, it's a high-tech tribute to an era. But that doesn't mean fans are all on the same page about it. Reactions are already split, and that divide is going to get sharper as we get closer to the date. On one side, you have people who are excited. For them, this is another chance to see two legends share a ring. They remember staying up in 2015, buying the pay-per-view, watching the build-up, the weigh-ins, the walkouts. They like the idea of revisiting that history even if everyone is older and slower now. On the other side, you have a lot of skepticism. You'll hear phrases like cash grab and pension fund fight getting thrown around. Some fans feel like these types of events cheapen the sport, turning boxing into a kind of nostalgia tour instead of pushing the new generation. From that point of view, Mayweather and Pacquiao had their moment. 11 years later, they think the spotlight should be fully on the current champions, rather than on two greats who are already cemented in the Hall of Fame. Whether you love it or hate it, the business side is almost impossible to argue against. Floyd Mayweather is still the biggest draw boxing has ever seen when it comes to pure revenue-generating power. No one has consistently driven numbers like Floyd. Manny Pacquiao, meanwhile, still commands a massive global following, especially in Asia and among Filipino communities worldwide. Add those fan bases together, drop them in a venue custom-built for massive events, and it's not hard to see why promoters are all in. The choice of September 19th signals something. That's Mexican Independence Day weekend territory, historically one of the biggest dates on the boxing calendar. Traditionally, it's been reserved for Mexican or Mexican-American stars like Canelo Alvarez. If Mayweather and Pacquiao are stepping into that slot, it means they're not just playing around with a small nostalgia card. They're aiming for a major event weekend, big ticket prices, and global attention. Another angle here is legacy. In 2015, that was the core of the conversation. Mayweather was undefeated, Pacquiao was still at the top of the sport, and the big debate was simple: who's the greatest of their era? That fight, fair or not, essentially settled it in the eyes of many. Floyd walked away 48-0 after beating Pacquiao and then finished his pro career at 50-0. Pacquiao went on to have some great wins, but never quite shook off what happened that night.
And Las Vegas is the perfect place for that. The entire city runs on memory and fantasy. Old legends get revived on billboards, classic performers do residency shows long after their chart-topping days, and visitors pay top dollar to relive old eras that meant something to them. Mayweather vs. Pacquiao 2 at the Sphere fits right into that model. It's the boxing equivalent of a reunion tour from a band that once sold out stadiums. Of course, that doesn't mean the fight itself will be meaningless. Even at 49 and 47, both men are competitors. Mayweather especially has built his entire public persona around the idea of perfection. He has always taken pride in never losing. Pacquiao, on the other hand, has never been the type to show up and jog through a fight, even late in his career. There will be pride involved. There will be national pride involved too. The Philippines backing Manny, American fans and others backing Floyd. Nobody wants to look bad in front of the world, no matter what their age is. The question is how they'll present this matchup officially. Will it be a sanctioned professional bout with judges and an official result on their records, or will it follow the pattern of some recent high-profile exhibitions with modified rules and no official winner? That detail hasn't been fully laid out in the basic announcement, but it's going to be a crucial part of how fans judge the whole thing. If it's an official fight, critics will say these guys are too old to be engaging in real high-level combat. If it's an exhibition, others will say it's just a glorified sparring session being sold at full price. Either way, the debate around what counts will be almost as loud as the buzz around the event itself. From a broader perspective, this fight also says something about where combat sports are right now. We're in an era where experience is often marketed harder than pure competition. You see it in crossover fights, influencer boxing cards, and high production value events that prioritize spectacle. Boxing purists may hate that trend, but it's clearly where a lot of the money is flowing. The Sphere might be the purest example of that. You can imagine them using the entire inside dome to show Pacquiao's rise from a teenage fighter in General Santos City to an 8-division world champion. You can picture highlight reels of Mayweather's early days through Gotti, De La Hoya, Canelo, all the way to McGregor, wrapping around the audience in 360 360 degrees. They can show real-time punch stats, live visuals reacting to big shots, and cinematic intros that make the ring feel like the center of a movie set. In that environment, even a slower-paced, more tactical fight between two aging legends can feel epic because everything surrounding it is designed to hit you emotionally. So, where does that leave fans? If you're someone who grew up watching Floyd and Manny, this rematch might feel like one last chance to sit with that era again. Not to crown a new champion, not to solve an argument about who was better in their prime, that was 2015's job, but to reconnect with what made you tune in all those years ago. If you're more focused on the present and future of the sport, you might see this as a distraction, a giant nostalgia bubble that overshadows the fighters who are actually at the top of the game in 2026. You might prefer to see the sphere used to showcase the current best in the world rather than the kings of yesterday. But from the promoter's point of view, the formula is simple and brutal. Mayweather's name still sells fights. Pacquiao's name still sells fights. Las Vegas still loves a big show. And memory, especially on the Strip, is one of the most profitable products you can package. In 2015, Mayweather vs. Pacquiao was about deciding who ruled their era. In 2026, Mayweather vs. Pacquiao at the Sphere is about revisiting that era altogether, not to rewrite history, but to replay it, upscale it, and wrap it in 360-degree visuals for a new audience and an old one at the same time. Whether you plan to watch out of curiosity, nostalgia, or genuine excitement, one thing is certain: boxing's past